Is there any saving these Republican like white guys?
I think they need to go. No, I think they're really awful people.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm afraid of with my white students that are rich. I'm like, do you ever have to deal with this? They're so protected by capitalism that it makes me sad. We don't have to hide our activism outside of school. We don't have to hide who we are. Like, we can bring our whole selves to work and do the important work now. So with my role, I give them all the art supplies. Like, we make posters together. We have people go to every march. They get excused from classes. Or
which marches like?
See, they went to women's rights marches after Trump. They went to all the gun ones, the March for Our Lives. When it's fun too, because if they do march out of school, because sometimes it's a political protest, and so we don't actually give them the grace period, but we do. We don't punish them, but if they do it, then they have to serve detention, and then during detention, we talk about social justice and do much more education. So it's kind of
it's really you're giving them an opportunity to be encouraged.
It's like the punishment of detention, but it's not punishment.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Do you encounter any of that here, like parents or staff who are kind of conservative?
Not really. I mean, it's a 300-year-old school, so I mean, clearly based on white supremacy, and it was started in Trinity Church, which was built by slaves, and they're starting to grapple with the history of their school. But I think people know. I mean, we're not as left as I am for sure, but it's definitely a school where conservatives would not feel comfortable.
So that's kind of good.
And I just keep trying to disrupt wherever I can.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in this position, I have so many opportunities to do that.
My name is James O'Keefe. I'm with Project Veritas, and you are on hidden camera speaking to our undercover journalist. That's the man that was meeting with you. And you're on tape. You work for Trinity School, right? You're the director of student activities. And you're on tape, and you're saying, I don't hide how I feel, but I can't pretend I'm not promoting an agenda. You're recorded making all these statements, even though I clearly am promoting an agenda with all the stuff I'm doing. What agenda are you promoting?
I have no idea what this is.
Well, it's an undercover investigation by Project Veritas. You work at Trinity School. You've been caught on camera. You're also on camera saying...
Gotta show Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
We just need some vigilante Dexter.
Oh, yeah.
Here's your community of targets.
A community of targets. You're literally on camera. White boys feel very entitled to express their opinions. She's walked into the dentist's office here, hiding from Project Veritas, obviously. Last time they ducked into the pharmacy. This time they ducked into the dentist office, perhaps to get a root canal. Oh, they put the blinds down. Democracy literally died in darkness here on the streets of New York City.
What would you do, though, as a principal, if you knew there was a conservative applying? Would you hire such a person? Yeah.
We have very specific questions, and ultimately, our diversity, equity, and inclusion question, our DEI question is, if people don't answer that question right, they're just an automatic not.
Like what?
If they say something that lends itself to be colorblind, it's everyone is equal, those things that are well-intentioned statements, but they're missing the depth of understanding. It's that person.
So there's this one teacher who almost refused to talk about Juneteenth a few years ago.
And so if you're not willing to embrace fully that aspect of our students, and that means talking openly about race and talking about injustices in the world, then I don't know if you're going to be able to fully fulfill your responsibilities.
What was her reasoning for being resistant?
She didn't want to teach Black Lives Matter. I don't think that she thinks that the race is a big deal.
Oh, okay.
So she was just kind of it's not that big of a deal. I love kids, so it's fine. I was well, no, you have to love all of it.
Was she fired, or?
Yeah, she left. She would have probably been fired eventually, just based off of mindset, but yeah, she left. We have always and will continue to embrace diversity on all levels. For kindergarten, for Pride Month, we got in first grade, like every kid had like a mirror, and we talked about like there's like a read aloud about a boy that said he wanted to be a mermaid, and it's like a way to start like was like you should be whoever you feel like you should be, and that, like it's delicate, right? So like in kindergarten and first grade they're 5 and 6, but I think we start with the umbrella theme of like embrace who you are. As kids get older, and the idea of like gender becomes more salient, which happens more towards like 4th grade, the conversations deepen.
So